They say the Super Bowl is the biggest stage for storytelling, but this year the story was about the code. From vibe coding to instant app building, the barriers to entry in tech are crumbling. But as the hype settles, a critical question remains. Can a vibe survive in a production-grade environment? Welcome to Swimming with Sharks, where we move past the commercials to explore the real-world execution of AI. I'm your announcer, and today, host Kevin J. Dean is joined by a leader at the forefront of the B2B AI revolution. Meet Angad, co-founder and CTO of Xparks. Based in Pittsburgh, Angad is an expert in building AI ecosystems that go beyond simple prompts. Today, he and Kevin dive into the reality of vibe coding, the rise of Agentic AI, and the mission-critical guardrails that keep autonomous systems safe. If you've ever wondered how to choose the right strategy when AI gives you 10 different answers, this episode is your roadmap. As always, if you and your company are wanting to strategize about AI, reach out to Kevin. Details are in the caption. Let's head to the deep end with Kevin Dean and Angad.
All right. Well, welcome to Swimming with Sharks. I'm excited to talk to you today, Angad. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about. There's so much to talk about. There's been a lot going on. So recently here in the United States, we had the Super Bowl. And on the Super Bowl, the reason that people watch the Super Bowl is for the ads, right? People don't remember who's playing, but they remember the ads. That's a big thing here. And there were a lot of ads that were focused on AI. There were some AI generated ads that were talking about AI. And that seems to be the topic that everybody wants to hit on. And so one of the ads that's interesting was about, it was by Base 4. And their ad was just really focusing on how anybody can now be a app builder and anybody can create apps. Really, I think they were hitting in on this whole concept of vibe coding. So what I'm interested in is your take on vibe coding. And really what I'd love to get from you is, can anybody do it and should anybody do it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty interesting question. First of all, I'll just start off with introducing myself. And so I'm Angad, and I am the co-founder and CTO of Xparks. We're based out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that's my second company. And initially in 2022, I started a company called Logbooks back in India. And what we do is we build AI solutions for other companies. So we're purely into the B2B space. Okay, and now, Kevin, it's great to be here. And I know we met last time. It was a pretty great time we had together. What a great conference. And I think now that we're going to start this, it's going to be really exciting. So yeah, let's go ahead. So now coming to the question that you asked, I think, so vibe coding has its own history, Vibe coding started with tools that were not doing that great. And today, if you see, it's like it's progressed in history. You will see that now the tools have become quite better. But what's happening is you will also see that there is a position. Now, if you see on LinkedIn also, there are certain jobs that are actually getting quite famous, and it's called vibe cleaning code specialist. Okay. So what's happening is that sure, people are using AI and vibe coding tools to create apps, right? But whenever things go south or things are not working, right? Now there's like so much of code that is generated. You need somebody to go ahead and fix it, right? Because probably AI is not able to fix it. Something or the other is happening. And you see, building an app at maybe a very, at a basic level or at a POC level is one part of it. But when you're building apps and, deploying it at production grade, where there are a lot of users involved, there are running costs involved, decisions, architectural decisions have to be taken. So then that's a very critical information where we need people. We need people to take care of that. But that doesn't mean that now, so what's changed? What's changed is that we don't have to go ahead and create things from scratch, right? Earlier, we used to go ahead and create everything from scratch. Now, AI acts like an assistant with us. So if you know, your thing, how you do it, if you know your systems and your architecture, now it's more of, who knows what has to be done and how it has to be done. That comes with experience, right? That comes with the kind of, you can say, work that you've done.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's a really sound advice. So, I think this kind of brings us to this whole concept that we're hearing and seeing a lot of today is how should businesses start thinking about bringing AI into their organization? So, like when you're working with individuals, when you work with companies, I know that you work with a lot. Where do you like to get started? Like, how do you help businesses understand how they start thinking about what they should be doing and how they should be doing it?
So, that's a very good question actually. That's a very good question because I'll tell you what happens is that companies, first of all, let's say we have a problem X, okay? Now we're trying to solve that problem, and we say, okay, fine, let's use AI to solve it. Now what happens is that everybody has access to the $20 plan, right? Everybody has access to Chat GPT and other large language model plans. So you can always go ahead, type in your problem, okay, and get some kind of an answer and a solution of how AI can do it. In fact, AI will give you 10 solutions. So how do you choose what is best for you? First of all, you need the proper guidance in that place. You need the proper strategy in place. So earlier we used to, now you can say you have more informed customers and you have more informed people because now they're doing their R&D with AI, they're talking to it, and then they say, fine, this is the conversation I had. Now this is what I want. Now after we understand that requirement, it's important for us to understand the problem because the answer that somebody is suggesting may not be the right answer for you, right? Because like I said, you can get 10 different answers. But how do you know which one is right for you? So this essentially needs like a very important discovery phase to go along. That means we need to understand the right problems. We need to understand the right, you can say, issues that we're trying to address. And also, what we do is we need to ask the right questions. That means, are we just using AI to get answers, or are we using it to even ask better questions? So what we do is we give you questions to think about, and we get into the details of it. We get into and because see, finally speaking, you are the subject matter expert of your business. That's why you're doing that in that way. AI can be implemented in any industry, but there are certain nuances of every industry that we have to understand first. So that's how we go
Oh,
about it. We understand, we get those questions. So that's, then only we can take the right decisions, right?
yeah, I love that. I love that the fact that, you really have to not just understand the tools, but be an expert into kind of what the problem is that you're trying to solve and use it in the right way to solve that problem. That makes me, one of your comments makes me think that, there seems to be a lot of confusion about what AI is, what it can do, and kind of the terminology. Can you help me understand kind of what's the difference between like AI, like I go out and I buy, like you said, that $20 Chat GPT plan, and I'm using AI versus an agentic solution. So is ChatGPT an agentic solution? Kind of help us understand what the difference is there.
Okay, sure, absolutely. Now, see, what happens is that first we had these AI that we still do, that we are talking to and we get suggestions from, etc. And now, earlier there used to be automations, right? You remember we used to have CRM, we used to have so many different API automations that are taking place. Now we're going another level. we are integrating everything. We are getting AI in the center as as the brain, as the CPU, and then we are taking decisions. And now we are giving AI that level of access to control those applications and get the desired output. So now, instead of just talking to an AI, you tell it what has to be done. And on the basis of, you can say, the decision control it has, and the thinking power, or you can say the thinking capacity it has, and the level of access it has, then it can take, those actions, and it can have those kind of results that you expect. So agentic AI is more of, you can say, now it's not just simple automations that we used to have. It's more of AI based automations that are taking place, and we are bringing the entire ecosystem together. So it's not just one agent, or it's not just an AI calling Gmail, or just an email tool. It's the ecosystem that's coming together, where you have business level context, you have prompt engineering, you have these large language models, you have memories that are being managed. Because over time, what you want is the AI to get smarter, right? On what you are doing and what you want, not what anybody else. It should not be generic. It should be really tuned according to what you want. So this is what comes across in the entire ecosystem.
Nice. I like this thought of an ecosystem. So when you think about an ecosystem, it sounds like to me it's more than just typing in a prompt into ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And so when you think about bringing in agentic solutions into an organization, um, that takes a lot of effort. Why is it? Why do you think it's important for organizations not just to think about oh, I'm trying to use this tool to solve this problem, but what are the other things they need to think about? Like, why is safety and transparency a concern?
Okay, now see, what happens is that earlier we used to have logs, right? We have logs about, say, some kind of tech that you have implemented, or any kind of software or hardware you have. We have logs. Now with AI working, it's working even while you sleep, right? So what's happening is that you have literally log books now. You just don't have simple logs. You have books of logs. That means all this AI is leaving some kind of like a digital footprint. Now, whenever things go wrong, or let's say some kind of incorrect action was taken place, we need to go back and understand why that happened, so that it doesn't happen again, and we need to fix it. So that means we need to have the proper safety protocols in place for that, to even find it first. Because if we find it, only then we can fix it, right? See, it should not have happened in the first place. That means we need to have the right guardrails set up. So safety, security, and transparency become a very important factor while implementing and working with the agentic AI.
That's like a real critical thought. That you gotta um, find it. So how do you go about creating these guardrails? What types of things should you be thinking about when creating these guardrails?
So I think while creating these guardrails, what we should be thinking about is initially, just you can say, in in terms of, at the very initial level, let's talk about brand, right? Let's just talk about simple brand. Now I'm just giving an example. While you have, like, let's say you have a chatbot that's for your own brand, you don't want that chatbot to be suggesting other brands, right? You're just talking about your own brand right now.
Yeah,
That means you need a level of brand level isolation taking place. That
makes
means
sense.
you need certain guardrails set up for that. Now this is
Yep,
just one
makes sense.
example. This is just one example, and this is such, it becomes very important for companies.
So what do you do when you find unexpected issues? I mean, so you've got an agent, it's running in your organization, and it's starting to do things that you didn't expect. what do you do in those instances?
So the moment, okay, so what we do is, so we have backup mechanisms set up. Okay. And we also have, you can say, safety mechanisms set up, like we were talking about guardrails, right? Initially, it should not have happened. And the moment it's happened, something like this happens, we have triggers that are set up, and the right people are triggered for that. The moment you can say this thing starts happening, we are also continuously evaluating what's happening, what are the responses that you're getting. So we're doing all that. The moment it goes below a certain threshold, or certain, incorrect access was asked, or you can say something wrong was sent, and you get a feedback, in that moment only we, you can say, triangulate it, coordinate off, shut it down, coordinate off, and then fix it. So we also have the ability to switch off AI and go back to manual mode. So we have time to go ahead and check it out. That means we have backup mechanisms in place. So that doesn't mean that, all systems can go shut down, because business has to function, right? You can't just expect everybody to go home and sleep. And you can't just shut shop, right?
Yeah, right.
So we need to have backup mechanisms in place. If that happens, then what happens? And this is fine tuned according to the business and the offerings that business has.
Oh man, that's pretty thought provoking. So man, we've covered a lot of ground today. So let me ask you this: two questions. One, what excites you the most about what we're doing now here in this era of AI? What excites you most?
I think what excites me most is, first of all, the opportunity that lies ahead of us. You know, the future that lies ahead of us and the opportunity. This is like, there was a time when we had the digital transformation, and there was a time when we had the dot com initial boom. I think we're entering into a similar kind of phase where, with what AI can do today, the capabilities it has, and the level at which it is improving. I mean, you see, just go back 3, 4 years back down the line, right? We didn't have all this that we have today. We didn't have so many AI ads like you were referring to. We didn't have any kind of agents. We just had simple automations running. So, if you see, knowledge is going to be accessible. It is accessible to everyone. It's going to become even easier. Tech is going to become easy for people to access. So the level of opportunity that lies ahead is immense. It's huge. That's what makes me
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, I think that is so very cool. I agree. There's so many exciting and new things. Tech no longer becomes a barrier; it becomes a true enabler. I think that's what we've always wanted it to do and what we wanted to see. So, as we enter into this new era, um, what concerns you the most?
I think what concerns me the most is, so people have this hindrance towards adopting technology also, right? People have an hindrance, like they might feel that AI might replace us. So that remains a hindrance. And what I feel is that we have to be really active in educating people as well, in spreading awareness, I will say. That it's not about taking your jobs, or it's not about taking any jobs for that matter. Now we are entering an era where we require certain upskilling. That means prompt engineering, context engineering, all these things. We will require people even from non-tech backgrounds. That's totally fine, because everybody is going to be using AI in their daily lives. How do we do it? How do we use it? Is the path that we should be thinking about. And how do we upskill ourselves is what we should be thinking.
Yeah,
So that's what I
that's
feel,
awesome.
we have to start spreading awareness on that.
Yeah, I think that's good. So yeah, I think that's a valid concern. Is like, and I think that's the common concern that people have. I think that whole people are circling around that a lot, right? So, man, that's pretty thought provoking. Um, so, When I think about all of the things that we've talked about today, it is pretty exciting. I think the future is just so abundant with so many things that can happen and should happen as we think about moving forward. And I think um, what would be like kind of your last advice to companies who are stuck and not sure what to do next? What would be your piece of advice for them?
I think I'll have three questions. Okay, three important points that I will say are going to be the key takeaways that anybody who's viewing this, whether it's a person from a company, an individual contributor, anybody, and if you could maybe answer these questions in the comments as well, that would be great. So the key questions are that, first of all, what do we know that our competitors don't know, and are we giving that to AI? Because that's what proprietary context is all about. And then the second part is, are we using AI just to get answers, or are we using it to ask better questions as well? And the third one would be that, okay, so AI has given you 10 suggestions, right? Do you have the ability and the judgment to pick the right one? Is it, what's your strategy behind picking the right one? Is it the fastest one? Is it the easiest one? What are you thinking? I think that should, get people involved into thinking about how do we take strategy? How do we, work with strategy?
I love that. I think those are three great questions, and I think we're going to have you back and kind of dive into some of those questions again in the future. Man, thank you so much
100%.
for coming and chatting with me. This has been so fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, that was good. All right.
We're mad about